Ever had your life fall apart so hard you thought, well, I guess I'm the universe's little renovation project now? Yeah, that's what I call a life quake. They're not here to destroy you. They're here actually to rebuild you, truthfully. Welcome to Conversations with Thomas. I'm your host, Thomas Kevin Dolan, pronouns he and him. I'm blessed to be recording this podcast from the island of Oahu, the ancestral home of the Kanaka Maoli, whose wisdom and aloha still pulse through every wave, breeze, and sunset. Today, we're talking about those seismic events that rattle your foundation so completely that the only thing left standing is who you really are. What happens when the ground gives way? A life quake begins the moment your soul says, enough friggin' pretending. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's a breakup, a burnout, a diagnosis, or simply the quiet reflection, this isn't it anymore. Every lifequake starts when your soul refuses to keep paying rent on someone else's version of you. When your soul refuses to keep paying rent on someone else's version of you. Sound familiar? It sure does to me. Here's an example of a game, literally, I'm going to use a sports analogy, that broke me open. It came wrapped in shoulder pads and Catholic guilt. As a kid, I lived for those moments of approval, especially on the football field. One day in junior high school, my gym teacher asked me to explain an offensive formation to the whole class. For a second, I felt seen, respected, like I'd made the Dolan lineup of quote unquote real men. Then came the Bantam football game that changed everything. My dear mom stayed up late, cutting cardboard footballs that said, "Go Saints, go." She wanted every parent in the stands wearing one. Love apparently came with crepe paper and glue sticks. But after we lost, she tore off her badge and shouted, "That's the last Friday. That's the last, oh, it's still painful to say it. That's the last Friday night I'll ever waste." Those words hit harder than any linebacker ever could. Because what I heard was, if I win, I'll be loved. So I kept chasing that love through trophies, scholarships, and grit. But the laughter disappeared. Fear took its place. When I finally sustained a serious head injury playing university football, I didn't know it yet, but the universe had blown the whistle. My bump on the head became a wake-up call. I'd been playing for approval, not love. That hit didn't destroy me. It destroyed who I wasn't. And let's talk about the science of shaking. Full disclosure, I really had no idea there was science behind this. I actually thought I coined the phrase lifequakes. I thought I was being pretty special. Not that I'm not, but I didn't know that somebody else had done some work with lifequakes. Good for them. His name is Bruce Feiler. He's an author, and he calls these moments lifequakes. He says that they're disruptions that force reinvention. His research found most of us experience 3 to 5 of them in a lifetime, each lasting about 5 years. That's half our adult lives spent becoming new versions of ourselves. So if you're in one now, you're not lost. You're under renovation. And neuroscience backs this up. When your world tilts, your amygdala in your brain lights up like a friggin' disco ball. It can't tell the difference between losing your job and being chased by a tiger, except the tiger's name is change. Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett says emotions are your brain's best guesses about what's happening. Lifequakes blow up the old guesses and literally demand an upgrade. Authenticity, it turns out, is the software that runs after the crash. Now this one is my term, soul seismology. It's like reading the tremors. I like to think of authenticity as soul seismology, reading the tremors before your next awakening. Life always whispers before it shouts. Ignore the whispers, and eventually the chandelier comes down. Yeah, life always whispers before it shouts. And yes, the universe has a wicked sense of humor. I once told my therapist, I feel like the ground's being pulled out from under me. They smiled, which pissed me off, and said, good. The universe is redecorating. I said, I just hope it's not doing open concept again. If transformation had a Google review, we'd all give it a 1 star for timing and 5 stars for results. But laughter is a survival skill. Stanford research shows humor rewires how your nervous system processes stress. It turns cortisol into dopamine, fear into relief. So if you can laugh at your mess, you're already reclaiming your power. Here's what LifeQuakes teach us about authenticity. Every LifeQuake that I've endured stripped away any illusion I had about who I was or what I was being. They reveal your truth, your voice, your values, your backbone. So LifeQuake is about stripping away illusion. Certainly, football taught me that courage isn't taking hits on the field, it's telling the truth off the field. That that fear isn't failure, it's an invitation to intimacy with yourself. Because when the ground gives way, it's not punishment. It's permission to build something real on what remains. Authenticity is sure as hell not born in calm seas. Mine never was. It's forged in aftershocks. When you stop performing and start belonging. And before I read these words first to yourself, again, I had to be true to me first and foremost before anybody in the world could be true to me. So I'm going to invite you to see if you can invoke this practice this week. I call them aftershocks of kindness because healing starts when gentleness follows the quake. Number one, name your quake. The moment life split into before and after, and don't edit, just name it. Mine was coming out, not a surprise. The second thing, find a fault line, not in whose fault was it. That's not what I'm going for here. The fault line is this: what belief cracked in you? For instance, I have to earn love. I might stay small. I must stay small to stay safe. Write whatever it is, write it down. Mine was, they won't love me if they know I'm gay. Number three, kind of mine the gift in the rubble, in the quake. What truth did this life quake teach you that comfort never could? Mine was authenticity, to be the real me, regardless of being loved or liked. And number four, send yourself one aftershock of kindness, a small radical act of self-respect that actually honors your becoming. I looked for one person who would accept me when an entire world disappeared overnight, and I was blessed to find my sister. And the rest happens without guilt. Speak without apology. Tell the truth without shame. Because when life shakes you, when you create, listen to this, when you create a life quake, don't ask why me, ask what's trying to wake me. And then answer that question, what's trying to wake me, with kindness. Imbibe me for a moment. Time for a quick promo. Maybe this conversation stirred something in you. Maybe that's your own life quake whispering, hey, it's time. Time to stop managing the cracks and start listening to what's breaking open. When my world fell apart, I didn't rebuild it with logic or hustle. I rebuilt it with courage and honesty. That story became my book, Little Fag, A Journey of Self-Acceptance and Healing. It really is a love letter to every version of me that thought survival meant pretending. It's not just a memoir. It's literally a roadmap through the rubble. Proof that what shatters can actually also shine. If you've ever felt your own ground was giving way, I'm going to suggest that this book may just be the book for you. You can find Little Fag at Amazon.ca, Amazon.com. And as you read the book, please remember the quake isn't the end of your story. It's the truth beginning to breathe. Isn't that cool? Now back to the podcast. When your soul hits the Richter scale, and I would lie to you and say it's not going to, here's the truth. And I know it's already happened for you. When your soul hits the Richter scale again, remember it's not because you're broken. It's because you've outgrown the structure that used to contain you. Authenticity isn't the aftershock of honesty. It's the moment you stop performing and start belonging. That's not falling apart. That's falling true. Thank you for listening. If this episode made you laugh, a cry maybe pissed you off, or maybe had a quiet whisper come to you that was, damn, that's me. Share with someone whose ground's a little shaky right now. Because when we share our quakes, we remind each other we're not alone in the rebuilding. Also, I'd be so grateful if you subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen, or even leave a 5-star review. Conversations with Thomas is brought to you by me, Thomas Kevin Dolan, and brilliantly executive produced by my amazing husband, Adam Ma. I'm all for tending your mental health garden with help from actual pros like therapists, counselors, certified coaches, or doctors. What I share here is food for thought, not a substitute for professional care. So until next time, I want to invite you to remember, even earthquakes settle into new ground.